beloved family. Um, so there's something that's been on my mind that I kind of want to open up to you all about. It's something that I feel that we all can relate to. Um, you see, there's one thing in life that people can agree on, okay? And that is there is a truth behind the energy and what makes up our spirit and our anatomy. Um, and one thing I want you to contemplate, it doesn't matter if you're more leaning towards scientific or religious type of beliefs. Um, the truth of the matter of the fact is that we truly never stop existing. Okay, as with science, all right. In science, after a body dies, it is truly not death as far as what survives. And there's this thing called radioactive decay. And there's also the recall of, let's say for the sake of argument, atoms and cells and molecules. Okay. In science, once the body passes, it doesn't stop existing because the spirit has left the body. The energy, the molecules, the cells, that radioactive decay, it can be continuing its journey. And if you believe in science, then the physics behind it, like with the superstring theory, okay, and where everything's connected in the universe by these strings, these vibrational strings that, you know, one thing can affect something millennia away, and it's still, regardless if at this one point of time, the embodiment of what that design transforms or ceases to exist in the way that the original vehicle was made up, the body. Um, in science, it doesn't stop existing, it continues. And there's things that keep it woven together. And with our family ties, our genetics, our DNA, our children, our children's children, our grandparents, we all share that commonality of passing forth the information, the DNA, the energy, and it continues. And something that was created long ago in the physical, and in one moment of time it passes on, it never really truly completely dies. It lives on. It lives on through those scientific vibrational waves. Something that we did in one point of time can have a lasting effect for millennia, for generations. Um, and then there's the cells, the molecules, the DNA, the genetics of our children and our children's children. That also continues. So we never truly die, so to speak. And I don't want you to think that there has to be a fear when it comes to death, because we live on. And if you believe in science, then you know that what I'm saying is true. Um, and one vibration in one point of time can have an effect for millennia down the line. And that vibration, it continues and it goes both ways. It's part of the quantum realm and the physics and science behind it. And you know, the even when the radioactive decay of cells and molecules die, the vibrational imprint, the energy that's released, it never stops. It continues. It becomes part of something else. It becomes something greater. It goes on and on and on. So whether you're scientific or if you're religious, then you also know with religion and theology that we never truly die. And even in the second death, where you'll never see the face of the Father again, that's what's considered the second death. Even then, you never really die. And that's where science and religion, theology have the same thing in common. Um, and I believe that there are ways for us to start wrapping our head around these moments in time where so much is going on with the world. And if you think about theology, then you understand in the religious text that there will be signs and there will be great wonders, and there will be wars, there will be rumors of wars, and you know, all the pestilence, the famine, the droughts, everything that's going on, the release of the UFO files and those great wonders that you see in the sky is turning red, and all these prophecies that are starting to be fulfilled. You know, back in the day, when they would speak about a prophecy, okay, these prophecies were meant for a long way away. And the the only time that the prophecies would come true quickly is when the word was being passed, and you know, say a ruler or a king or somebody in power received a word from an angel or from a prophet that these things were going to happen within their lifetime, then those kind of prophecies came true faster. But the ones that regard towards the end times or the apocalypse or the second coming, um, these signs and these prophecies and these wonders and these things that we will be seeing, they were foretold a long time ago. Okay. And they weren't meant to happen like that. And like I was telling you before, when you have the ability to see millennia down the road, you can see for thousands upon thousands of years in a blink of the eye, then it's not so hard to be able to give the information to those vehicles, those people, those prophets about the signs that are going to come, because it was just like that. And they don't have to be like, things that we forgot in kindergarten or the things that we did when we were little that we can't recall or whatever. No, these thought processes, these are there. It's like if it just happened a second ago and you can recall what happened a second ago. Well, throughout that time, throughout those millennia, um, to convey the message to the people at the time, um, it would have to be done eloquently so that they could understand. And it wasn't only just meant for them at that time. That's the thing, is that it was for them to scribe and to bear witness and to make a record, but it was meant for us, the here, the now, um, and to prepare us, to give us an opportunity to take a step back. Now, I'm going to tie both religion and science together, even though a lot of people think that they don't mesh. I'm going to show you in the way that it does. Okay, so let's go with these great wonders and these great signs. Okay, I'm going to tell you when the catalyst of these events started being the first domino within our somewhat modern times, was when the the Jewish people, okay, they were told that because of their disobedience that they will lose their land, they will be given unto their enemies, they will be a footstool to their enemies. That there will be like dead dry bones. There's a lot more to this. I'm just kind of paraphrasing. And when the Holocaust happened, and you stop and you think that when you look at the pictures, they really did look like they were dead, dry bones. Okay? They lost their homeland. Um, they've lost it more than once. But there's prophecies. If you go back and you look at Isaiah and you start reading, or even just research prophecies that have been fulfilled. And one of them within our, modern times that we can all relate to is that when the Jewish people were scattered, they lost their homelands and they looked like dead, dry bones. They were a footstool to their enemies because of that disobedience. But there's another bigger prophecy that happened after that, because that was foretold. Yet the one that I'm talking about that was the catalyst was when in 1968, the United Kingdoms and the United Nations, they decided to allow the Jewish people to not only be recognized as a people, but to get their land back. And Israel became a state again. And their Muslim neighbors, this is huge, and this is so crazy that it happened, because it was prophesied like thousands of years ago. But what I'm getting at is, after that happened, the Muslim people were like, okay, they knew that they had a chokehold over the world with oil, okay, and so they did what's called the OPEC did the embargo. They were like, okay, if you're going to step on our Sharia law, which is the law that they practice, there's other laws and beliefs, but one of them is that if they take something, whether it be by force or by war, and they believe that once they take that in that manner, it becomes theirs forever. Okay. And so therefore, that's why they have their mosque built right there in the middle of Jerusalem. And that's where some people are talking about the desecration and the abomination. Yeah, I think there's more to that, but we'll get into that later. Anyways, so they're looking at the world in the United Kingdom and the United Nations and the United States, and they're like, okay, if you want to step on our laws and grant these people their land back, or their ability to be recognized as a people again, and to even call Jerusalem the capital of Israel and the Jewish state. Man, this really pissed them off, for lack of better words. And so with that oil, they did this embargo. And not only that, they said, okay, and the other thing we're going to do is we are going to annihilate and decimate and destroy every single last Jewish person in Israel. And the Jewish people, they were, I mean, if you stop and think about it, okay, if you was to drop a pea next to a watermelon, this pea or this mustard seed compared to this watermelon, well, that's how much they were outmanned, out tanked, outgunned, out jets, out. I mean, these are modern times, so they had machine guns, they had it all. Um, and there's no way with them odds that the Jewish people were even going to survive. Okay. There's, if you research it and ask AI or Google or whatever, however you get your information to quantify the probability that with those type of odds, whether or not the Jewish people would win the war are so far astronomical. Okay. So they're surrounded by all their enemies, these Muslims, and they're like, okay, well, we're going to go in and we're going to decimate and destroy them. But not only did the Jewish people win, they did it in 6 days. The 6-day Holy War. Look it up. Look it up. And there were soldiers, Muslim soldiers that said that when they went into battle, um, I think they took it down off YouTube, but once upon a time, they had these Jewish soldiers flanked, and they had a whole battalion, and there was just a handful of Jewish soldiers. And when the Muslims rode up on them, and the Jewish soldiers were like, well, we might as well go out with the bang. Um, and they gave it up to the Almighty. Yet it wasn't just about saving those specific Jewish soldiers. There was a bigger plan in effect. And the next thing you know, this battalion, this Muslim battalion of thousands of soldiers and these handful of Israel soldiers, the Muslims began waving their white flags in surrender. And they surrendered. And this became a point of history where people were like, well, why did you surrender? You had a whole battalion. There was only just a few of them. And the Muslims like, nope. They said what they seen behind those soldiers were a multitude of these giant angels behind them, ready for battle, breastplate, armor. They were ready to go. And this scared the crap out of them. And they said that it was as far as the eye can see, and they knew that there was no way they was going to win. So this is the theological part. Okay. This is the catalyst of part of what I'm talking about at this moment in time, this history, this 6-day holy war. The catalyst means that it's just the first domino that knocks down the other dominoes in our modern times that bring about these prophecies a lot more quicker than having to wait thousands of years for them to unfold because they're popping off like that. So anyways, that 6 day holy war was, you know, it was prophesied a long time ago. The displacement of the Jewish people, them looking like dead, dry bones. There's so many ancient texts and dialogue that foretold this. And whether you are a Jew or a Muslim or a Christian or satanic, or it's doesn't matter. If I took my remote and set it down right there, doesn't matter what religion you are, that is something that is historically verified, and you can't change the fact that this is what happened no matter what you believe. So the truth of the matter of the fact is that there is obviously, whether you are scientific or religious, that verifiably transpired that made an event reality. And being that catalyst, okay, these are part of those signs and wonders that I'm trying to make you understand. And if you go read Matthew chapter 24, and you know, the people that were walking with Christ at the time, okay, they called him rabbi, which means teacher. And, you know, of course, they believed he was the Messiah, the son of the Heavenly Father, and was one with the Heavenly Father. But they did not possess the ability to see millennia, that sight that you can have instant recall of seeing what's going to happen thousands of years down the road like he did. So they were like, Rabbi, okay, when will we know of the second coming? And he tells them basically that nobody will know the exact day, the exact time, the exact hour, not even the season, but there will be signs. Okay? And that's part of the grace that was given to us, is to have these signs happen in the manner, in the way that they are happening, that you can prepare yourself. Because if you're religious, there's no need to fear death. There's no need to fear the second coming. This should be a celebration. You should be like, yay! You know, if you are afraid, that is your spirit telling you something. If you're afraid of the second coming, if you're afraid to die, then your spirit is saying, hold up, we got something inside that just ain't right. And that is your trigger to tell you, let's get it right. Let's get rid of it. Let's not let it anchor us down to this world. Because in the religious sense, that kind of fear is the bad kind of fear. Rather, start seeing it as a celebration. There's so much suffering, there's so much ugliness going on right now, you know, and these signs, okay, these earthquakes and these wars and these rumors of wars and and all these great wonders in the sky, uh, the UFOs, the evilness behind the distractions that they're making. They do not even see that they are doing what was prophesied that was going to happen. Okay, you're going to start putting out these wonders in the sky that was already foretold, because you want to cause a distraction away from the Epstein files, or that we are paying taxes to fund wars that we should have no right, being in. And it's not just now, it's been going on for a long time. You have these global elite people funding both sides of the war, okay? And this has been going on. Do your research, you'll see that these specific global elites, they have funded both sides of the war, okay? And they're not just selling to, oh, well, we're going to sell to the United States because they are righteous, and we're going to borrow them money so they can keep producing this righteous army and armaments and technology. Nope. Mm-mm. They are helping funding the other guys too. Okay. Um, so this world, it's really sick. And again, don't let it dismay you, because that's one of the teachings, is that these wonders and these signs, yeah, there's going to be hardship. There's going to be all this ugliness. But just know that all these signs are part of the relief valve of what's to come. And the promise after is there's not going to be any more suffering. Every lost soul, every person, everyone that has passed, there's going to be meaning behind all of it. And there's going to be joy with every suffer. Okay, there's no joy without the pain. And what I mean by that is that fear not, these things are going to happen regardless. And find find that happiness, my cat. Finding bugs. Anyways, um, so one of the one of the main things that I want to convey to you is that to not have fear, okay? Find joy and seize every moment of joy and embrace it, and find joy in tomorrow. Do not be distracted by the ugliness of the world, because it's supposed to go down like that. Um, but that's just letting us know that better things are yet to come. And I'm gonna do my best to, out of love, to prepare all y'all in a way and give you information about other things that are going on, so that you begin to prepare, um, and prepare with a good open heart give to your brother, to your family, to your friends. Pass the positive energy. Let go of any old beefs that you might have, because in that last half a second, that last breath until it becomes our last breath, you don't want to have any regret. You don't want to have any remorse. You don't want to have any anger. You don't want to have anything that is going to deflect. Okay. If you allow these negative emotions and energy to be your last thought right before you take that last breath, then you're going to be fearful, and your energy, your spirit will go in a separate direction, and that positive energy that we're trying to get to, we're going to be lagging behind it. Allow your energy to propel you forward. Let go of all that. And I say this out of love. And I promise you that the things that I'm going to share with you are not to make you fearful. They're to prepare you. They're to bring you joy and to share. And I have more, and I'm going to start breaking it down, these prophecies and these signs and these things that are going on in the world today. And I'm going to bring it all together. No matter what you believe in, it's going to touch every single aspect of a person's belief. And I love you. And, pass this message on to whoever. Comment below, like they always say, comment below. Let me know what you're thinking. If there's certain things that you want to talk about that we can hammer out as a family, let's do it. Let's start sharing the good word. Let's start putting out those good vibes. And until next time, love y'all.